Hey everyone, it's me back again. Happy Friday. I told you I was going to come back on this week and go through the day 10 worksheet for creating your own utopia. Um, just to kind of go over the definition, show you some images, even a short video on what a utopia is. After I give you this background information, it should better help you for creating your utopia or perfect world. So up top, I put the definition, which utopia is an imagined place where everything is perfect. Okay, so thinking of your concept of a perfect world, what are some things that you would want your society to do or follow that would make your community perfect? Um, Even if you think of a physical description, what would you describe as the perfect weather, the perfect landscape, the perfect animals that are in your environment? Are you have access to water? Is it more natural? Is it more cityscaped? So when I was preparing for this lesson, one of the things that I wanted to do was look through images of what people think is a utopia. This actually looks like Zootopia, if anybody's ever watched that movie. But you have a good idea of the images here. Here is a small family, very futuristic. It looks like natural winding roads, access to bodies of water. Uh, Really, it's the concept of one's imagination of what they would describe their utopia as, and what would be involved. So if I asked everybody to kind of create their own landscape, I don't think any one would be the same. I think they would all be different. I definitely like this one if you're a Wizard of Oz fan, because this definitely captures the beauty of a place, even though the Wizard of Oz did have some negative consequences with the Wicked Witch of the West that might disrupt that utopia. So that's kind of one of the great tools about Google, is to kind of Google your images for the definition. I also have a video, because after I'm done showing the video, we can talk about laws dealing with the workplace, laws dealing with your own personal life, laws dealing with school, and laws dealing with the government. You are going to create these rules that people have to follow in your perfect world. So, what would it be? Um, I know some people might struggle with work and government because not everyone works and not everyone really follows the topic of government. But with school and personal life, what defines the perfect flow of your society? Okay, so one of the things that I found on YouTube is from BBC. The Search for the Perfect World. Where did the term come from? How was it coined? And what people think of the term utopia. So I'm going to start playing.
Z of isms. Utopianism. Utopianism is the ism of utopias. It means a belief or interest in a perfect world, or at least a world designed to be perfect. The word utopia was coined in 1516 by Sir Thomas More, writer, saint, and opponent of Henry VIII's marriage plans. In his book of the same name, Utopia has been taken by some people at face value as a book about a perfect land. But others point to the fact that the word utopia literally means no place, and that the book is a satire. But that hasn't stopped people. Through the years, there have been all sorts of ideas about a perfect society: economic utopias with no poverty, ecological utopias where humans live in harmony with nature, and so on and so forth. Many cultures and religions have a myth of a perfect society in the past, like the Garden of Eden. Communes, music festivals, and naturist camps could all be seen as attempts to create a mini-utopia on Earth. There are many kinds of utopias, but one of the central qualities of any utopia, paradoxically, is that it doesn't exist. Being a utopianist essentially means being a dreamer. When John Lennon sang "You May Say I'm a Dreamer" in his famous hit single and utopian anthem Imagine, he was referring to exactly this quality. Utopianism's main flaw is its obsession with perfection. This can lead to absurdities like the Soviet-Russian belief that one day all crime would be eradicated because under true socialism, crime would not be necessary, or the more sinister belief in fascist ideologies that racial purity would eliminate all evil from society. Perhaps this is why much discussion of the topic is now confined to utopianism's dark side. Dystopianism, a way of describing worlds, real or imaginary, in entirely negative terms. From George Orwell's 1984 to Margaret Atwood's A Handmaid's Tale, dystopian fiction has become increasingly popular in books, films, and television. But interest in utopias isn't going anywhere. References within books have been on a steady rise since the 1900s, with clear spikes in the 60s and also, perhaps surprisingly, in the 80s. And who could deny the perfection of the world, at least in microcosm, as you sit by an ocean and listen to the sound of the waves crashing on a beach, or when you first see a blanket of bluebells in the spring? And without at least striving for a better world, where would we be? In chains with rats chewing off our faces. That's
Whoa,
where.
that was a little harsh at the end. Okay, so yeah, I think it's very true when the narrator states that dystopian novels are a lot more interesting. If we this definitely takes the cake of a dystopian um, vibe, because even though it is an island that the boys are stranded on, what it consider is it considered a perfect world? They really don't have rules to follow, um, which is pretty harsh in itself. So it's basically going to erupt based on how the boys handle situations, which you'll experience as the chapter moves forward. One of my favorite dystopian novels has to be Fahrenheit 451, which we talked about last year when one of the rules was that there weren't allowed any books, no knowledge, no internet. When we watched the movie version with Michael B. Jordan, so if you need to look up the definition for dystopian novels or the dystopian definition, just kind of think opposite, where utopia is striving more for perfection. And I don't know if we'll ever get to a utopian type atmosphere in our current world. We can all hope for it, especially during these trying times. Um, Something to kind of look forward to and be a dreamer about, or imagine what that world might look like. Um, so when you go through, this is obviously from your own imagination. There is no right or wrong answer. I just want to see where your thought process is. So when we think of laws dealing with work, you can think about maybe payments, what work looks like, what are your roles as a worker, maybe certain jobs have certain responsibilities and that's all they do. Maybe you don't work every day of the week. Maybe you do. It depends on how you want your society to flow. Um, Education, what maybe you need to cut out subjects. Maybe you think certain subjects aren't required for what you need. And if you put English, I will be very upset if you take that away. You do need to read and write everywhere, people. So please don't take that off your list. Do you have to be in attendance every day? Maybe attendance should be from home. Think of what you're dealing with now. Personal life, I would make every person have a dog in their household, but that's just me because I'm striving for a perfect world with dogs, especially if you heard Gibbs crying in the background because he wanted a treat. And now he's staring at me currently, but you can't see. Um, then I want you to go back and kind of highlight what you think the 4 or 5 most important laws that you made out of all those topics. And then if someone broke that law, what would be your form of punishment? Do you describe jail as a perfect form of punishment? Corporal punishment? You can get as creative as you want to be. Like I said, it's basically to kind of get your imagination flowing on what you strive when you think about the perfect world. Okay, so lots of fun here. Government laws, school laws, work laws, and personal life. Try your best. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to help you and walk you through it. I definitely could think of a ton here myself, the dogs being the main one. An increased minimum wage, be like $30 an hour. So people that are working, I'm sure they would appreciate that. Just think what would be the ebb and flow of your society, and how you would like to run it. You're in charge. You're the boss. What would it look like? I think of the scene of Zootopia where the rabbit goes into the city and just this perfect view of what she's imagining is right in front of her. So get into that mindset. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to help you. If these videos really help you and you are liking them or you love hearing the sound of my voice again, please reach out. Feedback is appreciated and welcomed. Trying to get more creative with things to help you out, just to keep you on task. I am reaching out to some kids today just because I haven't heard from a lot of you in a few days. So I just want to make sure everyone's okay. But I miss you, and of course, I will be back on this weekend and next week to walk you through chapter 3 of Lord of the Flies. And I really hope you're enjoying it. Later on today, I would like to post an activity that I found. I will probably be posting another video to show you. I thought it was really neat, and if you wanted to take part and see what we can come up with, that's the goal. Okay, so everybody have a great Friday. Enjoy your weekend. If you need anything from me, you know where to find me, or you can shoot me an email. All right, have a great day.